Well, here we are, and we're down to the Super Bowl, the least interesting Super Bowl I've ever heard of. But coming off the NFC and AFC championships, we actually had at least one good game, and then one game that was kind of entertaining just because it was so destructive and one-sided. But I'm glad it wasn't I'm glad every game in the playoffs was not like the Philly Washington game. So,
Yeah.
For reference, as far as picks go, we went 1-1. I took Philly and Buffalo. You took Washington and Kansas City, so it's split. I don't know why I went against Kansas City voodoo. That was foolish of me.
To make it interesting.
For Washington at Philadelphia, it did not really feel like, as much as the score would imply, Washington was just out of their league. They were just nowhere near ready to play against a team like this and all that. I don't actually think that's the case. I think they're a little bit under them, and they had a really bad day. They had 4 turnovers, all of which were costly, and they couldn't, count them on the list of teams that couldn't stop the Philadelphia run game. So once again, Saquon, 3 touchdowns. The Giants are over somewhere crying, and I understand it. Like, if this was Larry Fitzgerald doing this, I'd be crying too. But yeah, I still think Washington is a bright future. It'll be interesting to see next year if they have like a sophomore slump, like not just Jaden Daniels, but the entire team.
Yeah, the team.
They were the second healthiest team in the NFL this year, so they had a lot go right. They had a whole lot of old rental veteran kind of players, and somehow none of them got hurt. You had Austin Eckler, I think, played the entire season. I don't think he's done that in like 6 years. Zach Ertz, Bobby Wagner. You had all these like 33-plus-year-old guys, I think, who were coming in here and miraculously stayed healthy. And I doubt that they get that kind of luck to go.
It's hard to imagine.
But we'll see. They also have a ton of cap space moving into next year. They're primed to maybe go get like a Myles Garrett, which is terrifying. And I don't want it to happen because I want Myles Garrett to be smart. But we'll see. So, but for Philly, they won this game exactly the way they should want to win every game. They had 230 yards in the air and 229 yards on the ground. They would have probably had 230 yards on the ground, but I think Kenny Pickett took a couple of knees at the end. So, just kind of an ideal game for them. I'm sure this game is just pure pain for you because it was both NFC East teams and probably your least favorite 1-1. So, yeah. But from watching this one, what did you really what stood out to you?
I mean, the turnovers thing, we were talking earlier rounds about the disparity. Like, we saw these blowouts, and I mean, blowouts generally come from turnovers. And so, I think that the turnover thing is the story in this one on some level. But, my concern all season has been that Jaden Daniels for all of his positives, as a young quarterback, that he's going to kind of hero ball. Hey, I'm forcing everything. And to be fair, one could make the argument, well, that's how they got in the playoffs. That would be fair. I think that is true. And it's one of the things I love about him. And that's one of those things that I think it's going to be very interesting to see how he develops the next couple of years. Can he start to pull back from that? Like, teams now know what he's capable of, but maybe take a page from an older and wiser Lamar. Granted, he didn't make it this far, but an older and wiser Lamar, though, like, he doesn't need to hero everything. Like, maybe I should learn how to spread the ball and all of that. With that being said, I think that they had a great season and all of that. But that's kind of how I felt. I think that, he had 48 pass attempts in the game. They really abandoned the run, which wasn't really going anywhere. But, man, once you become one-dimensional, I think the Eagles, any Super Bowl team, once you've become one-dimensional, you're in a bad spot. From red zone, the red zone in particular was very one-sided. Every time they got in the red zone, Saquon punched them in the face or Jalen just ran around them. And it was, I mean, they made it look easy against a team that just scared everyone for the second half of the season. I felt like they really kind of made it look easy. My hat's off to them. Like you said, it's hard when it's your 2 divisional rivals. there's things you look at with each of them, but it's been the truth all season. It continues to be the truth. If you can't solve the Saquon Barkley problem, you're probably going to lose. If you do, yeah, you're probably going to win. They're very heavily dependent upon him running their offense. So yeah, again, my hat's off to the Commanders for a great season. I'm intrigued by them next season. I'm scared of them. I'm scared of Philly as well. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes going forward. But yeah, it'll be unfortunate, but good for Philly moving on. So that's all I'll say on that one before I can move off to less painful topics, like how agonizing it was to see the Bills lose to the Chiefs. I mean, first off, this was a very close game. It's one of those games came down to the fourth quarter. That's in the playoffs. That's what you want to see. You know what I mean? Like that's a fun game. It's a good game. Didn't go my way. It didn't go the way I wanted it to go. It went the way I thought it would go. But it was a great game. I feel bad for Josh Allen just because, man, it just seems like this this nightmare repeats itself, kind of like the Phillies and the Phillies and the Chiefs playing in Super Bowls. There were a lot of good things here going back and forth between these two teams. I personally, I guess I didn't feel like the controversy around the officials, I didn't feel like that was a thing particularly in this game. And so I think that was good. I just thought it was a good game that, just ended up eking out in favor of the Chiefs. It was a good all-around game. I'd be very interested to see the Buffalo, if they add another piece on offense, like another upper echelon wide receiver, that sort of stuff. I think that'd be very, very interesting to see where they go, because I just think they have so much going. And I think that this kind of came down to like one play by a defender, one play by an offensive person away from a win. How did you feel about this one?
Very similar. I think the only really controversial, just get this out of the way, the only really controversial
Yeah,
officiating thing was that 4th and inches or whatever, where Buffalo didn't get it, but a lot of people look like, yeah, they totally got it, and that
sure.
spawned or respawned or whatever the whole. Why don't we have a digital solution, like a
Replay.
computerized
Yeah.
solution for first downs and all this? It's like whatever. Okay, I get that, but
Yeah.
like I at least can understand it. Like this of all the controversial Chiefs games this year where crazy stuff happened at inopportune times or opportune times for Chiefs, this one
Yep.
was the least suspicious, I think, of them
Yeah,
all.
I agree.
So, just it really was a very. This is an evenly matched game, 100%. Uh, so when we were talking about Washington, I said they were the second healthiest team in the league, and I have some doubts about next year because law of averages and that kind of noise. So
Yeah.
I have less the Bills were the healthiest team in the league. So, but I have less concern about them moving into next year. For some reason, they've just shown that they can retool that roster. They did that this year, and we were like, I think they may take a step back because young guys on defense, and now I'm an idiot.
Right.
But right, you didn't have to agree with that part. But anyway, no, like
You caught me at just the right moment there. But go ahead.
Anyway, so like they should be fine moving into next year. They unlike Washington have negative cap space moving into next year, but built into restructure stuff. They are paying a quarterback, and as for the Chiefs, they are healthy at the right time. They were actually a bit nicked up at the beginning of the season and were eking out wins, right? Just kind of crazy things were happening. But now you look at their wide receiver list, and I don't think all these guys are superstars. There are a lot of them are names, right? So you got Juju Smith-Schuster, Hollywood Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, and they're all actually healthy right now. And then they weren't even the lead receiver, the Xavier Worthy guy, when they can manage to actually get him into the offense is pretty effective at times. So we'll see. Their run game was effective enough. I don't think their run game's elite by any means, but it's good enough.
Functional.
So,
yeah.
Pardon me. So we'll see. We'll see moving into the old Super Bowl. But yeah, for this game to just come down to a 3-point win at the end is It's just kind of how it goes. And I don't think it's a Josh Allen can't beat the Chiefs thing. I think it's
Right.
everyone seems to have all of the contenders in the AFC seem to have a problem getting past the Chiefs. I mean, like last year it was Lamar, and
Yeah.
this year and it's been Josh Allen before, and it just has a problem getting past the Chiefs in the playoffs. They have another gear, or they're just really buttoned
Yep.
up, or all of the above. And yeah, they are a problem. Um, so yeah, that'll be interesting to see going into the Super Bowl rematch. But
Yep.
yeah, I really don't have much else. Um, it was just a good game. That
Yeah.
similar to you, it's not the outcome I was hoping for, but I can't say
But
I'm
a good
surprised.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And if I can have one or the other, I'll take the. I like the. If it was my team, sure, blow them out. But if it's just a game and it's not my team, I just want a good game.
Sure.
So no, I'll take it.
Yep.
I'll take it.
But we'll see. So that all being said, moving into El Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
El Super Bowl. Here we go. For some broad strokes, uh, they are favoring Kansas City by 1.5. So
Makes sense.
it's close enough to a pick 'em at this point. I think they're giving Kansas City the been there, done that nod, which is
Yep.
funny because the matchup predictor is pretty heavily Eagles. It's like 56-44. So it's kind of saying the same thing that I would say is like all of the data, all of the way when I look at the way these teams play and
Mm-hmm.
how they've played and all that screams Eagles ought to win this like 30-20.
Yeah.
But I'm totally picking the Chiefs. I'm not going against them.
Yeah.
So yeah, this ought to be really good. But I think that they said the Chiefs haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher the entire season. So can Saquon Barkley of all people be the guy to break through this? I'd love it if he won the MVP for this year. I don't think he will. I think it'll be Lamar again or Josh Allen. But
Yeah.
no one's like somebody talked about if he wins a Super Bowl this year, Saquon, it will be the greatest single season running back year ever. So he didn't break the record for rushing yards.
Right.
But when you combine that with he's going to have 600
the other
yards in the
team.
playoffs or something like that and win a Super Bowl, it'll be yeah. So I was like, yeah, I kind of agree with that. So again, sorry he's an equal, but it's an impressive
Me too.
thing. Yeah, right. The Giants are sorry. So yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, I'll take the Chiefs here. Who you got?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that the obviously the logic that you're using there, I think makes total sense. The Chiefs, and Pat specifically runs the game on willing yourself to wins, right? It's they've had such an odd season for them, right? For them in the Mahomes era, they in their division they were the third highest scoring team, right? There's the Chargers and Denver both had considerably more points scored. Considerable is relative, I suppose, but more points scored. I mean the Chargers had a better defense as well. So did Denver. So it's a funny thing. It's like we just got to survive till we get in the playoffs, and then we're good. And they do a great job. And now they're back in the Super Bowl. And I appreciate all the things about how they, have held all the running backs in place, and that's fair. But man, say you just listed out Saquon's accomplishments and how this would be the kind of the crown jewel in this season, which has been pretty remarkable. And he is that team. As much as Pat to me is the team on the Chiefs, Saquon is the team on the Eagles. If they can hold him in place, if they really can make the Eagles one-dimensional, keep Jalen in the pocket, limit Saquon Barkley to 70 yards rushing, yeah, I think they win this game. I think they win this game fairly straightforward. I'm gonna put money that they can't. I'm gonna go ahead and say that the team that outscored them by 80 points in the regular season is going to outscore them in the playoffs as well. Yeah, I think it'll be quite a challenge for Philly, but I think they'll end up pulling it off if Saquon's 100%, and if they can't, if he breaks one off, I think it's pretty much over. Now, of course, everything's we've just seen so much disparity in so many games, especially early rounds of the playoffs, in this like contagious turnover machine that all of a sudden starts happening where somebody turns the ball over once and then they turn the ball over 10 times. You have these 4 or 5 6 turnover games. Who knows what'll happen there? But yeah, I'm gonna take Philly to pull this one off and win the Super Bowl and make our division look bad. So we'll see how that turns out, and then I can hate them more next season. That'll be good. So
It
that's where
kind
I'm
of
at.
makes your division look good. Your division
I
one,
suppose.
right? It's Arkansas. I see your shirt. It's like when Alabama wins. It's like that hurt, but see what we have to deal with every year. Like,
It's true. It's true, but they did outscore us by like 130 points this
yeah,
year.
but
So
still,
it's
we're all
like
SEC. So
we're the fodder who feeds the machines right now. We're gonna have to step it up quite a bit. So yeah, but yes, yeah,
by
that's
the
a
way,
good point. That's a good point.
one quick addendum to
Yeah.
an earlier stat. So the Chiefs did technically allow a 100-yard rusher, as far as I can tell, once this year. I've been being a bad podcaster while we've been talking.
Who was it? Yeah.
Lamar Jackson.
Oh God. Well, that everybody is allowed to do that.
So they did not allow a running back to go above 100
Ah,
yards, I think was the stat I must have heard. Some of these
that makes
guys,
sense.
who the heck is S. McCormick? Sincere, it says sincere, but I'm sure that's not how you say it.
Yeah.
Sincere or whatever. Anyway, they did not always play against the cream of the crop, but they did play
Right.
against Derrick Henry, and they did quite well.
Yep.
So power
Yep.
to you. But yeah, so hopefully it's a good game, if nothing else, because as I've said, for me, there's very little intrigue in this particular Super Bowl. I don't care about the relevance of the three-peat. I know people they're trying really hard actually to cherry pick that stat and say, he's better than Brady now. And I'm like, guys, like, all you have to do by this logic that you're doing is pick one thing that Brady did that Mahomes hasn't done yet. And then it goes back the other way. It's like, did Mahomes win 7 yet? It's like, no. Okay, well, did Mahomes win 1 without his Hall of Fame coach? No. So, I mean, like,
Yep.
it's this weird thing. It's like, if he passes Brady, then he passes Brady, and that's great. But stop trying to.
Let's wait for it to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, wait, how old is Pat now? Pat's.
he's probably coming up on 30.
Yeah, he's 29. Yeah. It just popped up. Yeah, so he'll turn 30 this next year. Yeah, so it's like we got a little bit of time to wait. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, if it's on the Brady schedule, we got 15 years. So
exactly.
If he wins here, he's got to win 3 in the next 15 years. So 4, I guess, probably 4 because Brady owns the tiebreaker. The real interesting challenge. I got finished with that cough drop 30 seconds ago immediately. The big challenge will be eventually Andy Reid retires, because Andy Reid's not a spring chicken. He's already said he wants to coach next year. But if Mahomes is still playing in 15 years, okay, there's almost no way Andy Reid's still coaching in 15 years. So that will be another interesting test. Can he do what Brady did, where he went to another team, another system, and went and took that team to Super Bowl? I'd actually love to see that, because I love seeing it when Brady did it, when Peyton Manning did it, and so on. So I know that's a long way down the road, most likely. I'll be like 70 when that happens, but that could be really entertaining. So, but yeah, hopefully we'll get a good game on Sunday, and
yeah.
Hopefully
I think we will. I think it will be a good game. I think it will be. But yeah, here's hoping we don't have one of those like phantom fumble kind of things that just throws the whole thing out of whack right from the beginning and goes downhill. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
At the very end.
Yeah, exactly. Well, sounds good. We'll have to see how it turns out.
Yes, sir.